Welcome, everyone, to this month's community showcase. I'm your host, Tisha, from the Wakelet team, and I am here today with some of our incredible ambassadors. They are going to share how they're using Wakelet. So I'm going to go ahead and bring both of them up so they'll have an opportunity to introduce themselves. We have Kathy and Irene. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and maybe your background and maybe what your expertise or passions are. Kathy, we'll have you go ahead and go first.
Sure. My name is Kathy Lacey. I am a curriculum resource teacher at a middle school in Columbia, South Carolina. I am passionate about accessibility, reaching all learners, whether it's adult learners or student learners. And I'm just thrilled to be here and sharing about Wakelet today.
I love that.
Nice.
Thank you. Yes, go ahead, Irene. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. I'm Irene Confalone. I come from Italy, exactly Sicily. I live very close to the volcano Etna, if you know it. But I live next between the seaside and the volcano. It's a pleasure to be here. And I love Wakelet. For this reason, I'm here with you.
Thank you, Irene. I think we all want to go visit you now.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Do the two of you see? We have a lot of people in the chat. So do you see? I see Sandy. Shout out to Sandy. Do you see anybody that you recognize in the chat, whether they're from the community or maybe some of your other communities? Let's see. We've got Carmelina from South Carolina. So shout out to her. We've got someone from Morocco. You know what I love about these webinars is it really brings the community all over the world. So do you see anybody, Sandy, from your neck of the woods or from the community? I see Peter from England. So shout out Peter for joining us. I'm just looking through, I'm catching up. As Amy always says, it kind of goes quickly. Emily from Onslow County. So shout out to you from North Carolina. Let's
Hi, Emily.
Yeah, and let's see who else we have. We have another Emily from Maryland. We have Billy from New Jersey. We've got some people from Spain, more Morocco, Nigeria. We love that you're all joining with us. And just remember, if you happen to hop off and you miss anything from Kathy or Irene today, this webinar is recorded. You can find that on our Wakelet channel. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. Irene is our first speaker. So Irene, we're going to let you go ahead and start sharing with us.
Thanks a lot, Tisha. Great.
Let's see. There we go.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. I would like to say that I'm an English teacher at high secondary school, and my passion is to share new ideas, and I want to change my way of teaching. And every day I need new input. For this reason, Wakelet is the best for me. I would like to show you. This is my profile. Some ideas some works that I did with my students. I would like to start with this collection. This is a nice work that I love it because I did it with small children, and we worked, it's in Italian, about the climate change. So salvare il pianeta, we want to save the planet. What did we do? We tried to collect. I said I'm so proud of my students because they try to try to understand and to use this wonderful tool that is Wakelet. And what we do, we try to collect all our experiences. Control la passeggiata serale. We used this tool Relieve to walk and to foster all the walks that we do with the family and to discover the landscape. Then another work with this wonderful group of teachers from all over the world, Earth Day. We celebrate Earth Day. I'm going to show you. This is a very wonderful picture and poster that my students realized and we put on the wall. Our land is precious and we have to save it. Another wonderful research, because I use Wakelet to collect all our research. This is a poem, Filastrocca della Terra, a poem about our Earth. And afterwards, they created, the students, the small one, they created a lot of posters, and we participated to several contests, and we won. Afterwards, another poster about saving water. We must love our Earth, and that's it. Other collections, and this is one example. At the end, they realized these wonderful 3D posters, and with this 3D, we won the contest. Another example of my collection, another way how to use Wakelet. I want to show you. Oh, this is another one. And I'm very proud of my students because they created and they discovered how to use this wonderful tool. This is with the extension or to use other tools. For example, this is Panorama 365, and they realized that they took wonderful pictures. This is a picture of the school. Afterward, in this Wakelet, they had to create the infographics, and every student had to create a different infographic with idiom or a specific, I think having heard and not ruining, it is the most beautiful art of form you could ever want. This a very example of wonderful inclusion. This is the creation of a special need student, and I was very proud of him. This is another one, and this is an autistic student, and we during the COVID-19 we wrote a storytelling once upon a time, and he is wonderful, really. This is some places from my town. Oh, and just 2 years ago, we had a terrible thunder here, and it was a really disaster. And this is a very big tree that destroyed a very big car in my town. This is the other images of this terrific hurricane of 2 years ago. This is Federico, my student. Example of the school. And that's it. Another example that I want to show you is another type of work that we realized with my student. Oh, this is Erasmus Days. It's a wonderful experience that I had with my students just few days ago. We celebrated Erasmus Days 23. It was just 11th of October in my school. Now I teach in a high secondary school, and we had a beautiful day because we realized a contest of several posters from countries all over Europe. And every class created and thought about food, especially sweets, from 2 different European countries. And can you see, in my school there are 15 classes. We realized 30 specific dishes from 30 different countries. Can you see wonderful posters? And sweets from Slovenia, England. This is me. I'm an Erasmus ambassador. For this reason, we celebrated this specific day. Can you see lots of colors, sweets, Erasmus and e-twinning? This is our symbol, the symbol of Catania, Erasmus Days, other posters. And this is the poster that won the contest. And after the Greece, can you see Greece? Can you see lot of different places? She's the head teacher. It was a very wonderful party of the school. All the school participated. France, can you see France, Greece, Spain? Oh, and a special Erasmus dance, and that this group of girls, boys and girls, they were dancing, and it was a wonderful day full of colors and sweets and smiles. Oh, can you see Ireland? Okay, and at the end, one beautiful and very kind students of mine realized a video. Another example is Tisha, tell me if I'm good on time. Okay.
You are doing great. Absolutely. You go right ahead. Show us this collection.
Yeah, thank you very much. Another activity was gender equality. That is a very interesting topic that students, they like it. And they decided what to do. We started first with Agenda to 2030. We try to study all the topics, all the goals. And after we tried to collect all videos from YouTube. And we try to understand and to know something better. The assessment was they had to create some specific little tests about the words with that were starting with C, confidence and self-esteem, and they try to develop all those topics. Make yourself proud. I'm confident. Childcare. And they try to, because we speak Italian, that in this way they have to read in English, afterwards understand, translate, and afterwards at the end they had to produce some tests in English. It's not easy for us. Then capability, childcare, social stereotypes, and so on. And this was a very interesting collection that the students, they liked it. And more. Another nice, very nice work that we realized together was, oh, I don't find it. Change. Oh, let's see if I. Oh, I can show you this. This is a special collection that we realized for a class that we met through Empatico. Do you know Empatico? We met a class through Empatico, and we were supposed to present, to introduce our town, our country, through a collection, because we didn't want to use the typical PPT PowerPoint. We decided to create a collection, Il Bel Paese, that is Italy, and they try to find the most important features of Italy, that is drinks, cafe, and they realized this collection. Afterwards, typical places. Can you see? I live just here, close to the volcano Etna. Mountain Etna is a volcano mountain. Okay. Okay, very good. Typical places. This is Taormina. Have you heard something about Taormina? It's a beautiful place close to Messina, and is a hill town. It is located near Mountain Etna. Taormina is a beautiful place where to spend summer. I spend summer here, close to here. You can go down here and walk in this little island. This is called Isola Bella, beautiful island. And more, mostarda, that is a typical sweet, and pasta alla Monte Carlo. Pasta is our traditional food. Typical traditional foods, otherwise, are arancini. Do you know? It's made by rice and some meat inside. And our beautiful pizza, tarantella. Tarantella is a typical dance and traditional wedding. And so this is another type of collection. And if I find, I would like to show another way to study literature. I realized that my students, they find a bit difficult to memorize all the features of a specific foreign author or writers. For this reason, I created a collection of, for example, Animal Farm by George Orwell. And I try to summarize all the important lines about George Orwell. In this way, it is easier for them to explain literature, and they feel more confident. And I would like to finish with this work of a class of smaller children, smaller students, about bees, and we participated we joined in an e-twinning project with this work about bees. In this way, we could cooperate with other classes from all over Europe, and we can say that they learned from our work because they appreciated a lot of work. This is about bees. they try to write in English. They created infographic as well. And also there are a lot of videos. And last but not least, I would like to show you a cooperative work. If I find it. Okay, this was an Erasmus project, another European project. We shared for Christmas a few years ago. We sent so many Christmas cards to Belgium, Spain, and all our partners of our projects. And afterwards, I collected all the cards that we received or we created in this collection. And it was really, really a very, very good work. And we appreciated and we enjoyed it. I would like to end with my motto, that is working together, it's better, because I like to work, to share, and to share especially my enthusiasm to use Wakelet on my everyday teaching learning. Thank you very much.
I'm here. I was talking to you muted because I didn't want to interrupt you, but you shared some really incredible ideas. And I just want to say this. What I love the most about watching you present is all of the collections that you have. I think you really displayed some of the good problems that some of us have with so many collections and being able to find the ones that we want to showcase, right? But those of you who are wanting to look more into Irene's collections, we've shared her profile in the chat so that you can connect with her and see all the great things she's doing. What I loved about all of your collections, Irene, that I thought they all had in common were this real world learning experience that you were giving your students. The SDG goals, you were really giving them these opportunities to problem solve. I love that you are allowing your students to use Wakelet to create collections over tools that are like PowerPoint, right? Slide decks and things like that, because I think it's very important. I'll just use an example. My son had a project to do a portfolio. This is a funny story. So I know Amy's watching behind the scenes, but my son was doing a portfolio, and you know, Irene, that I love portfolios. I love for students to create and show their learning on Wakelet. And he brought me his portfolio to review, and guess what he was using? He was using a PowerPoint, and I said, what are you doing? But I love that you're leading your students to show them that there are so many other ways to present. You had another theme of creativity and storytelling, and there was a comment in the chat about translation, and I just want to point that out. There is Microsoft Immersive Reader built into Wakelet, so any of the text, like you were showing collections with text in there, your students can translate that back and forth, right? So really in that ELL or multiple language learning, you have the ability to do that. And it really can be a game changer. No matter what you're doing. Sandy loves immersive reader and accessibility, which I know Kathy she's probably going to talk about that a little bit. I might be stealing her thunder. But that was incredible, Irene. And I just, as an ELA teacher, a former ELA teacher, you showed Animal Farm, and I had a flashback to my sophomore year in high school. So you did an incredible job. Thank you so much. We're going to bring up Kathy next, and then I'll bring you both up at the very end. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next up, we have Kathy. Welcome, Kathy.
Thanks. I'm excited to share with everyone today about how I leverage Wakelet for comprehensive micro learning. So I'm just going to be focusing on one collection today.
Okay.
I know Irene went over many. It was impressive.
Listen, we are ready to hear from you. I'm going to hop backstage and I'll come on when you're all done. Okay.
Okay, sounds great. So as I mentioned at the start of the call, I'm a curriculum resource teacher at a large middle school. We serve about 1,000 students, and I primarily work on professional learning for the over 100 staff members. I love my job because I get to work with every student and every adult in the building. This is my third year as the CRT, as the curriculum resource teacher, and I want to continue to adapt and evolve and be as impactful as possible as a designer when I developed professional learning for the adults that I work with. And that was an adjustment coming from being a middle school teacher and working with children. So in order to do that, I need to focus and respect the principles of adult learning to engage and motivate the teachers that I work with. And I need to be comfortable with focusing on the process of learning rather than the product, which is more pedagogy based. And this year, I began working to design discovery-based learning, encouraging learners to construct their own understanding at their own time. So that would be the readiness just in time. But I also wanted to keep the element of collaborating with peers. And that's a lot to kind of balance and provide for the adult learners in my school. And in the past with collaboration, I felt the only way to make that happen was to hold an in-person professional learning at a set time. But through microlearning and Wakelet, I've realized that I can, hit a lot of these components, especially self-concept, experience, readiness, through microlearning and Wakelet working together. So in September, I began incorporating microlearning to supplement our formal professional learning at school. And if you aren't familiar with microlearning, I learned about it this summer at ISTE. I went to every possible session on microlearning. And microlearning is typically a short email that you send out. And why it's great is it's flexible learning. People can open that email, open the links in the email at any time. And it is shown to be effective to introduce the topic, bring back something maybe you've done in the past, but you don't want teachers and learners to forget. So actually this heading is what goes on every email at the top of the email I send. And I have this graphic, I made it in Canva that I'll put in the chat or someone will share in the chat in case you're interested in using this. So microlearning and Wakelet together have been my go-to tools for enhancing this awareness of adult learning theory and reaching learners as much as possible and being as accessible as possible. Because Wakelet collections can become collaborative forums. So we still get that collaboration with peers, but at their own time. If one person accesses it in the morning, on the weekend, they can still learn from each other. And I am actually going to show you how it hits these multiple components of adult learning and walk you through kind of how I design this leading up to my collection. So I'm going to hop over to the email that I send out. Okay, so there's that header that explains what it is. And I will say that every time I send one of these emails to the staff, I reply to the previous one. And that has been huge in that it's one email. So somebody can just kind of scroll up if they missed something or want to go back months later to reference something that I sent at the beginning of the school year. So the format of this shares what microlearning number it is, what the topic is, who the audience is, how do they complete it. So I still offer in-person traditional professional learning for people who want that. And this particular micro-learning was on generative AI, that readiness. Teachers at the beginning of the year, that was the buzz. How do we use generative AI to help us reclaim our time? So I had an in-person learning, but what I started to do through these micro-learnings was I provide linked content for people to explore on their own time. If you can't make the professional learning, if you have a meeting at that time, if that's not really what you're looking for, I've been providing curated Wakelet collections. And I'm going to hop over to the Wakelet now to show you what this looks like. So this was the first one I sent out on generative AI. And how I set it up is I have 3 columns. And the first column had blogs, articles, and tweets. And you can see I had 26 here. Then the middle column had books on AI. And I was able to find even PDF free books on AI that I was able to link on here, as well as books that teachers could, pursue on their own off of Amazon and some write-ups on it. But where the validation of adult learning, the experience, the application for people to share their own insights, their own experiences came through this third column of participant insights. And this is where teachers were able to share their own experiences of using generative AI, because professional learning doesn't always have to come from me, even though that's my primary role in the school. So teachers were able to share questions they had, thoughts that they had, ways that they're using it. They're the ones directly working with students. And I loved this because this was the first one I sent out, and it got 80 views, which I thought was pretty good. And then 9 teachers offered their insights. So this teacher is a social studies teacher, and she talked about how she uses it to generate multiple choice questions for tests, and how to up DOK to make it more rigorous, how to write learning objectives into student-friendly languages. So things that teachers may have not thought AI could help them with, they were able to see from Miss Rohr that that was possible. But I also loved my colleague here, Mr. Davis. He recorded a video showing how he works through ChatGPT to design ELA content. And he recorded himself, and you can see where he's typing out plan a lesson or English lesson, and he worked through this. And this was where a lot of teachers realized they didn't have to come to professional learning with me. They were able to just kind of watch his brief little, I think it was about a 5-minute video where he highlighted and how he prompts GPT to come up with ideas. He said that it took less than 5 minutes. You can see this one got a lot of likes. That's the other thing. This is collaborative knowledge sharing. People were able, I should have given this one a thumbs up, to, highlight collections or features within collections that they found validating. The other thing was my assistant principal of instruction also responded on here. And I think that's powerful when instructional leaders, that Dr. Burrington down here, take the time to engage with the teachers and share. So I know I was quick. That's what I have to share. If there's any questions, I do have links for all these if they haven't been shared in the chat. This specific collection, the email that I used to set up the micro learning. I'm going to bounce back to the stream.
Kathy, that was so good. Listen,
I'm sorry. I know I was fast.
Don't apologize. I have questions. The audience has some questions.
Oh,
I
awesome,
have some tips. So we'll chat about that. Carmelina says, how did you get participants' insight automatically? Did you use the Wakelet collaborative option or a whiteboard app? So talk a little bit about that.
So I did. So when I went up to Wakelet and I did share, I gave the link that anyone with access to the link could edit, because I knew I was sending it through an email only to staff in my building. So yes, great question. You do have to have that understanding. So I will tell you, I made a duplicate of that collection. So that way, if somebody did accidentally delete, it happens. It really does. And I've been guilty of it myself. Like, oh no, undo. So I did duplicate and make a master collection. So that way, if something went missing or the whole column disappeared, I could repaste it in there and duplicate it. Great question.
So Emily has a question. Was microlearning already a thing in your district, or was it something that you brought to the table?
No, not that I am aware of. My district's pretty big, very large district. There's over 25,000 students in the district, a lot of schools, over 50 schools. Not that I am aware of. I just knew that I needed to continue to evolve as working with adults. It is a big difference. Working with children, most of my career was with 7th graders and then switching to adults, respecting what they bring to the table. And same for children. We should do that as well, tapping into their motivations and things like that. But I knew that I had to continue to evolve as a designer. Like, I view myself now as a designer for learning for adults. And when at ISTE, when I saw micro learning, whisper courses, that was another one that I went to a lot of sessions on, and that was geared more towards adult learning. And I came back, bought some books, hit the ground running, and kind of evolved with it.
That's what I love actually, Kathy, about both you and Irene. I don't know if you heard it or if the audience heard it, but you both have said that you want to be better and you want to keep learning and really just refine your craft. I loved what you shared about the principles of adult learning. So I hope later you will save that slide over
Yeah.
into a JPEG and share that on social media, because I think a lot of people would benefit from seeing that. The other thing, Kathy, that I love, you have so many great tips. I don't even know if you knew you had so many tips. So now I'm thinking there's a graphic or a collection that you're going to create with tips from Kathy. I think we've started a new series. You talked about replying to your OG email with
Yeah.
those Wakelet collections in there. And I just want to say that's genius, because as you know, emails get lost in teacher inboxes.
Searching for emails is the worst, and then it's like, "No, that's not the one I want. That's not the one I want." So that was a tip, and I gotta give that shout out. That was a presenter at ISTE who taught me that trick. Reply to the same email and just change the subject line, microlearning 5, microlearning 6, but it's just a matter of scrolling.
I love that. And then you also talked about the tip of making a copy of the collaborative space just in case. I think that's a great tip for all Wakelet users. If you're sharing out collaborative collections, just in case, like you said, something happens or somebody's add something. What I love is your participant insight column. So everybody was going crazy about your column layout in the chat. They love the column
Oh,
layout.
great.
I think you've really displayed that use case very well. That participant insights, allowing teachers their own experiences and also allowing them to experience and share with others, right? The fact that you have an instructional leader engaging on that collection in that column is huge. I
That sets
also,
the tone. It really does. It
yes,
starts at the top and he rolls up his sleeves and he gets right in there with the teachers. And when they saw he posted, I think he was the first one to post, it was like, okay, I'll start posting, because that was the very first one that I shared with you all.
that's amazing. It is amazing. And you're right. It really is a game changer. And then you showcase something that I don't even know that you meant to do, but you gave a thumbs up to one of those items on the collection. And I think that is a really great way, especially for adult learners, to feel validated in what they're sharing with each other, right? It's a silent validation. And sometimes that's all it takes, is just thinking, oh, Kathy really liked my article. Now, if I see her down the hall, I can have a conversation with her, ask her questions about that. So I think it really, it's a very simple idea, but I love that. So we have, let's see, I just want to make sure. Jennifer says microlearning is new to her, but she thinks it's really going to help. A lot of people love this. Monica's asking, is there a link to see your Google Doc to share your example that you're sharing with teachers? So are we going to share out any resources, Kathy?
Sure. And I think Amy, who's behind the scenes,
Yes.
has my Word document,
Perfect.
the microlearning email. And Amy, if you need me to repost that in the chat, I'm willing to. But yes, a big thing that I am really big on is don't recreate the wheel. Like even the heading at the top, replace Creighton and put your own school in there, or tweak the language a little, but don't take the time. I'm big on that. And the emails.
So we did share that link to your Word document, Kathy. It's in the chat, so you guys
Okay.
can grab that. And I think you're right. That is another great tip. The great thing about the community, let's go ahead and bring Irene up just so we can chat a little bit. But the great thing about this community and these community webinars is that all of you are so willing to share with each other, give each other tips, ask questions. I think Kathy and Irene are a really great resource. If you're not already connected with them, I see, Kathy, you have an @ beside your name. Is that your Twitter account?
Yes, that's Twitter.
Perfect. And I'm going to ask Amy behind stage if she could maybe grab Irene's Twitter account, Irene, so that we can have
Yeah.
people connect with you as well. Because I think you are really great leaders in both spaces. I just want to say, Kathy, I feel like I could learn so much from you. I didn't take a ton of notes, but it was because I was so engaged in what you were saying. I think that micro learning is just a really, really great idea. What struggles have you found, if any, with the micro learning?
It is such a shift. that some people didn't even realize what was happening. Teachers get overwhelmed with emails in their inbox. I get it. Like I truly do, because I do as well. But I think because it went from such of the previous 2 years, this is my third year in the role I'm in, it was like a formal, okay, Thursday at 11 o'clock, this grade is coming to the library at this time to learn. And it became more, hey, it's optional. I'm still going to offer that, but it's only going to be 30 minutes. So there was a whole like big evolve from my previous 2 years to this year. And I think some people were waiting for the formal, like, okay, here's the email from leadership saying, and I mean, I missed some people. The first few weeks, people weren't realizing kind of what was happening through the micro learning, but it was more organic that way. And I think my principal also made a good decision with it. Let people start talking. That was the thing. People who were replying to this or learning, not from me, from Mr. Davis, from Miss Rohr, from Mr. Bratton, that is super powerful because they are the ones working with students. And I get that. I get I still have a lot to offer, but you all are the ones doing this in the classroom, and the ability for people to lead from where they're at. I love using the Wakelet this way. It has been a game changer.
I love that. And, shout out because Dr. Harvey is in the chat. We love Dr. Harvey. He's an ambassador who was at ISTE also. But he says micro learning linked with micro credentials can be used for both students and teachers. Then we have another comment from Carmelina, using micro learning with students as an extension of classroom learning. Dr. Harvey says, though, how do you verify the micro learning? That's his question.
Okay, so it's optional. And I don't know if you saw when I was sharing, it said optional in all capital letters throughout, because I believe that if it's good enough, teachers will come around to it. And it might not be on August, whatever, when I send out that email, when they hear from their peer, hey, have you tried using Chat GPT? No, I missed that professional learning. Oh, go back. And the other thing is the count on Wakelet showed it had 80 views. That to me was a win for the first time going out, for people not knowing about this micro learning, for Wakelet pretty much typically being used as parent communication, like newsletters. That's typically how I've seen it used at my campus. That to me was a win. And then obviously people who came, but just the word of mouth, and 9 people added to that insights column. And I had a Spanish teacher, an ELA teacher, a reading interventionist talked about how she was using it for a very specific differentiation need. And she wrote out how she's using that. So the willingness to share, it's been great.
Absolutely. Well, to that point, Kathy, your willingness to share, Irene, your willingness to share. I know you both have new fans in the chat because I'm seeing them all ask if they can contact you. I'm just going to go ahead and say, I know your answer is yes. That's part of why we're all together in the community. So Monica, you can contact either of them for questions. It's been so incredible having both of you. And I know I was your last minute host, but I'm so excited that I got to be on this because you both really inspired me. I really feel like I'm infused. I actually have the SDG goals up, Irene, on my computer again to review those, but I'm going to be in contact with both of you after this. So all of you in the chat, all of you watching, make sure you reach out to Kathy and Irene. Follow them on social, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now X. But we are just so excited. Resources are going to be coming to you after this webinar. The certificate link, I'm going to have Amy pop that in the chat one more time. It is there for you so that you can get everything you need from Irene and Kathy. And we're just really excited to have this. You guys can go share this link out. So Kathy and Irene, all of their shares, this whole recording will be on the Wakelet YouTube channel. So make sure you're sharing that out. It was a pleasure, both of you. I'm so excited to officially get to host you. And I hope I get to see both of you very soon in person.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Tisha. I follow you already, and it was a pleasure to see you again.
It's always a pleasure, Irene. And if I can get to see you in person where you live, I will come visit you, and Kathy as well. So all of you go follow Kathy, Irene, Wakelet on all social media channels, and connect with the community. If you're not already part of the community and you're watching, make sure you're signing up for the community. You can do that right now. Anybody can sign up, become a community member, a leader, and then an ambassador like Kathy and Irene. And it just opens the doors to so many possibilities, and you'll continue learning with each other and with the Wakelet team as well. So until next time, we'll see you all again soon. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.